Ooh, let me get rid of that. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Combo Couch. Oh, you heard the music? That's right. I am Pasta Jardula. It is a special Tuesday edition of the Combo Couch. As you know, we're always scheduled on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Those are our set days. But if ever we want to do some pickup shows on a Tuesday and Thursdays, I kind of like to do the Tuesdays to be the election special because that's election day. But it's election day not in Latin America, not in Peru, not in Honduras, not in Colombia, not in Brazil, not in Nicaragua. They have that on a Sunday on a national holiday. And the average time to vote is like, what, 5 to 7 minutes that we've seen from country to country we went to. So, yeah, but since it's the United States and it's an American show and I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, which, you know, I would say as an election integrity activist might be a bigger shit show than what took place in Arizona. For all of those out there who saw what was going on in Arizona. And by the way, we're on YouTube right now just for another 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We have to go over to Rumble. Jilly Love, if you're in the chat, if Lucky Burrito is there, any of the wrenches, do me a favor if you can real quick. Get the links to the Rumble. Now, here's what we're going to do. The Rumble is going to be free. That's our place where we're going to put a lot of free stuff up, whatnot. We can't do this on YouTube, unfortunately. You know the Combo Couch has been spanked hard, demonetized for over 2 years for specifically talking about elections. That's the area they've come after us because we also present solutions. We actually go see elections in other countries, and we bring back that information to you, just like Paul Revere, that not that the British are coming, but elections can be done fair, free, transparent, publicly verified in one day with results that night. We just need the power of the people. We need a good chain of custody, and we need to implement some securities that are free and fair for everybody and make it easier for them to vote by making sure that it's on a national holiday like a Sunday. Take it serious. You know, when we're picking the next leader of the new world over here, let's take it serious. So we can stay on YouTube. But what I'm going to do right now is we're going to have a special today. Now, unfortunately, we were supposed to go 3 hours. We were supposed to start at noon. We were going to kick it off with Arizona. But as you know, the results came in slowly. It took a week before we found out who the governor was. The good old US of A taking a week on an election, which they've conditioned you since that Bush-Gore election to take longer than 1 day because we got to make sure we count all the votes. But a week later, we finally get the results. Now, since that information and that data has been coming in slowly and they've been slowly letting it out, my data analysis and my friend, Phil Evans, who I've got to go speak at these American Project election integrity events, which, you know, we traditionally come from the other side, but we are mixing together because it's a nonpartisan issue. And that's what this our first guest taught me with her good friend, Linda Payne of the EIPCA or the EIP Nevada. But that information and that data came in slow. So what we're going to do is next Tuesday, Phil Evans is going to come on. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the information from the data I got, the math. Remember those math hats? I want to steal those from Andrew Yang because there's so much math involved in the elections. And somebody asked me today, Pasta, what can we do? You have all these solutions, but we're never going to get them into play. And it seems like we're moving backwards with our elections. Well, I say what we can do is become advocates, not just activists, but advocates. Know everything about the system and tell people about the system and let people know how they can fix the system and how they can get involved. I mean, we're at that stage. So right now, information is the most important thing. But Arizona, we're going to kick it to next week. Phil Evans, he's going to come in there and tell you some stuff, mind-blowing stuff when you look at the math. But today, I am very excited to introduce this guest because this guest is a cool friend of mine. I don't know how we met or when we met. Somehow our paths crossed in California, and we've been talking for quite some time. When I talk about the math being so important, because when you look at the math of an election, and we'll tell you everything you need to know, this person is very well versed in math, especially when it comes to California and Nevada elections. She is one of the data analysts for the EIPCA in Nevada, and she's a good friend of mine. I got to meet her in person at the Defeat the Mandates in LA as she came out to root us on and cheer us on and support us. Ellen Swenson is here today.
Hi. Hey, I love your music. I got to get your list of what you have on there.
You know, everybody, when they hear the music for the first time, they just get amped up, and I love it because
I love it. Gotta get a list.
We want people amped for our shows, that's for sure. Is the Rumble up? Hold on one second, guys. I think once I might have to take 2 seconds. Why is it? I'm just checking on the Rumble, guys. If you can check on the Rumble, it's saying waiting to upload. I don't know what the problem is. It's not letting me play the video. I'm going to try to exit on out.
Sorry, my phone's ringing.
It's okay.
Spam.
Guys, this is the time we want you to go on over. I want to make sure this is playing. What?
Sorry.
This is craziness all over the place. We got all multiple things going on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, go over to the Rockfin. I don't know what's up with the Rumble right now. It's acting up. It's acting like crazy. It's saying that the video needs time to download. That's weird. I'm going to try one last thing, guys, but please, I'm going to put the Rockfin link in the chat. This is really upsetting me right now because we need this Rumble to work. Ellen Swenson, my guest today, she's going to talk about Nevada. Now, Ellen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on the big screen, and I want you to talk loosely about the macro of our elections without going into too much detail because we're still on YouTube, and we got to pull off YouTube.
Okay.
So just talk about, first of all, just tell us your history, how you got involved with election integrity, and what the movement's like today.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I live in California, and I think it was around 2009, 2010, I was involved in the Tea Party movement, and several of us just decided that we needed something that we could really get our hands around and really make a change in California, and so we decided to start observing elections and get involved with the election process. And over time, we end up creating Election Integrity Project California. And then we now have a branch in Nevada, which I'll talk about today. But basically, we basically collect evidence. And evidence being the voter lists, how clean or not clean they are, the actual voting processes, how are those being followed or not. And then we have observers out in the polling places and in the signature verification sections after the election. And so we gather evidence and then we present it back to the officials with the hope of making change. So I've been doing this for, since 2010. So what is that? 12 years, something like that. And I'm the chief analyst for both states. So that's what basically how I spend my time. It's all volunteer. We're all retired professionals. So for Nevada, just in general terms, there are 17 counties and it's way smaller than California. So it's a little easier to deal with from a data standpoint. You can get their voter list data for free and you can download it anytime. You just have to somewhat qualify, but I don't think it's too difficult to qualify to get the data, which unlike California, it's much harder to get data there. So then what we do is we have queries and we have a programmer who runs through the data and looks for anomalies. And then we present those anomalies in this case, to the 17 counties. So it's a lot of work because you have to split all your findings into the different counties. And then we also report it by county, by congressional district, by Senate district, and assembly district. So that candidates, we were hoping, and I can tell you the whole story, what happened, but we were hoping candidates would be interested in what anomalies are in the list in their specific district so that they could address that and make sure that people who appear to not be eligible to vote don't vote. So we can talk about that when you go over to Rumble, but that's kind of what I've been doing in Nevada for this last year. We can talk about, we had a press release on it as well, but I think you want me to wait to tell you specifics until we get over to Rumble. So I'll just hold.
Oh, I'm sorry. You couldn't hear me there. My bad. I was muted. Well, yeah, what I was saying is tell us about the EIP.
Okay.
Your election integrity project, because there's other election integrity projects out there.
Yeah.
And I found out at Freedom Fest, I'm like, hey, I know Ellen Swenson. I'm very close with her. Like, oh, that's not our group. I'm like, then why are you called the election?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. That's kind of an interesting story in itself. We have trademarked that name, so it's actually our name. And so when someone does use that name, unfortunately, we're kind of all in the same camp. But what happens is then the fundraising, hurts our fundraising, because people think they gave to us, but they gave to Judicial Watch's, EIP, or some other group's EIP. So when we do see that, we, for example, with Judicial Watch, we came to an agreement on how we would position the two different organizations. But so we have to protect our name, but we're the main one, and that really should be the only one, called Election Integrity Project. And then we have California, Nevada, and we have a couple other states that we're not as active in, that we've incorporated in.
Okay. So what do you think, when it comes to our elections, is the most important things that we should be paying attention to as far as the biggest problem? And once again, holding your tongue, because we are going to go over into Rumble as soon as I can get this thing set up. But in this particular election cycle right now, because I always refer back to the HAVA Act, right? The Help America Vote Act, how it let all these major corporations come in that have proprietary software. They're owned by private equity, so we don't know who owns them and stuff. But this is a new dawn, a new day, and it's post-COVID. So what would you say is the biggest problem with elections right now?
Well, there's several big ones, but I would say we are too centralized. Okay. We used to go to our local precinct and vote in person with our ID. We knew the people in their garage, who were holding their garage open for the voting, et cetera. And I believe way back before I was a voter, they would actually count the votes in the precinct. At least in many states they did. So that now, as we've gotten, it seems like it's gotten further and further away from the local action. And that, to me, it kind of underpins all the problems, going mass vote by mail, for example. And so all your votes go into this one central place rather than being held locally, and counted by people, et cetera. The massive counties that we have, who control like an entire state. For example, Clark County is 70% of Nevada. Now there's a reason it was big to start with, because that's when it was just a territory and there weren't a lot of people. But over time, we've allowed these big counties to be, to really, like LA County in California, to run the entire state. And that's another area. So I think that we need to, it's this centralization, and we need to decentralize is sort of a theme that I'm, sort of thinking this way. We need to break up the counties. We need to go back to voting at the precinct. We need to count locally, ideally vote on paper, with your ID at the precinct on election day, or on a Sunday, or, even early voting. But somehow it needs to be put back to the people, and it's gotten too controlled at a higher level than we can see or really affect.
Okay. Unfortunately today, I don't know why Rumble is giving me a hard time, which is really upsetting. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just post this up on Rumble later on as a video after. But right now we're live on Rockford. So what I want everybody to do right now is go on over to Rockford. We still have a few people over there, and we'll get a lot of noise on this later on. This is upsetting. I don't know why it didn't work, but
it's a machine.
Absolutely. You know what we'll do, guys? Let me see. Ellen, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut us down right now, real quick, and I'm gonna send you another link, real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll start over again, guys. Come back. We're gonna get back on Rockford and Rumble. Just give me 6 minutes to set up, and we'll be right back. Not even. I'll get it done in 3 minutes. Stay with us. Come right back, guys.
Okay, so I'll get off.
Get off. I'm gonna send you a new link, and we'll start right back up.
Okay.